Welcome to another episode of Soothing Semantics. I'm your host, Rafi Pinsky. Make sure to subscribe, like, share, leave your comments. And today, ladies and gents, well, before we go anywhere, for any of your real estate needs, make sure to follow Rafi the Realtor on Instagram. For any of your investment, purchase, sale, rent needs, make sure to give me a ring. You sign up for my newsletter, my weekly newsletter, which will give you lots of information on the South Florida market. And without further ado, we have a pretty badass Jewish girl, a lioness of the Israeli people, Nili Block. Okay, it's also a good last name you have, by the way. It's a very strong last name. You know,
yeah,
like you could have had like a Rubenstein, but you had a Block. You know, or it's kind of like.
I'm lucky, I guess, that the Americans couldn't pronounce. Yeah, because they came. My grandpa. Yeah, it came from Poland, so it was a blech.
Oh, that's not good.
Eventually, it turns out into Block.
Block worked out well. It's a good last name for a fighter, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last name is also Polish, Pinsky. Yeah. So quite an impressive record. Very impressive record. We have, and I'm going to make sure I get this right. 4-time European champion in Muay Thai, 4-time world champion in Muay Thai, and a 2-time world champion in kickboxing. Very, very, very impressive record. You are now 28?
Yes, 28.
Okay, 28. Extremely impressive. I'm going on like a slew of interviews now with Israeli fighters. I'm super stoked. I had Natan Levy. I had Eli Barzilai just last week. I'm having you, Chaim Gozali. I'm sure I'm going to have his son, Aviv. We're doing Shimon Smotritsky. We're doing all the people. So really, really love
female.
Sorry?
Saying the only female.
I know, right? But there's more. Listen, there's more, but I don't know so many of them yet, at least that have some big names. So you're kind of a big deal. So let's get into it a little bit. So really cool thing is you have a Wikipedia page, I noticed, and I did some research, and you grew up, you didn't grow up in the States, but you were born in the States, right?
Yeah, I was born in the States, raised in Israel. So my parents made Aliyah, moved to Israel when I was about 2 years old. So I consider myself more Israeli, at least also in the culture side, but spoke English at home and have dual citizenship. That's the only advantage, right?
It's a good thing, that's for sure. So yes, you're Ramat Beit Shemesh, right? So definitely,
yes,
in an American Israeli town, in a town in Israel that has quite a lot of Americans. So from what I read, your father put you into
actually my
martial
mom.
Arts at your mom.
Yeah,
at 10 years old, right?
Yeah. So actually, she's the one that started martial arts. She was volunteering in the police department. I guess what I understand from her is that, she felt like she wanted to give back. She wasn't really able to, do the army or do anything like that. And it was an opportunity for her to volunteer in something like that. And due to her position in the department, she was looking for some sort of self-defense for herself. And so she found Benny Kogan in Jerusalem, who was, delivering Muay Thai classes. And she started, and she kind of, took me along with her. I was a very into sports, very big tomboy kind of personality. And so it just stuck with me as the years went on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I noticed that you were also an athlete outside of martial arts.
Correct.
So clearly after you started at a young age, you kind of fell in love with it. It became your thing.
Yeah, it's something. I wouldn't say that at a young age I fell in love with it. It was kind of like an outlet for me, from the house, from the streets, right? A place to go, a place to call mine. And like I said, I just wanted to really be an athlete. That was my dream. So I took part in American football, you know, flag football. I was on the
I saw that too. Mhm.
team, basketball, right? You know, road cycling, ballet for a short period of time.
Oh wow. Okay.
Soccer. So like there were just many, baseball, little league, and so I just saw myself as an athlete, right? I wanted to be a pure athlete, and I liked that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah, there's so many things you've done. That's really cool. Just so many different sports. So now in terms of fighting, right? So you've had all these experiences and championships and accolades. Do you have any interest in maybe shifting over to MMA, like, you know, say the other Israeli guys, maybe trying to get into one of these, you know, very well-known organizations? Is it something you might want to do?
So you're touching on a very, I think, vulnerable point right now, because actually not too vulnerable. Maybe it was a bit before, but yeah, there was a period of time now for a few years that I was making that transition. I was learning wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I was training at ATT, American Top Team, in Florida.
Oh wow!
Just 1 year ago exactly, and I was supposed to fight my first fight in Jorge Masvidal's promotion.
Oh wow, very cool.
It was actually the same card as Shimon, and it just turned out that I had an injury, and that kind of put everything on hold. First, it was an injury, my knee injury, like 2 years ago, and that caused ACL tear and, you know, surgery, and so everything kind of really was on hold. And so a year ago, I had an injury that it just it caused me to rethink things, and I had to kind of put it aside, the whole MMA thing, because it was a serious injury. Now I kind of, after I got a doctor's approval to continue with Muay Thai, so I'm kind of going back to my origins, which I was, you know, the whole time. And it's important to really stick to what you know sometimes. So right now it's on hold, and I can't say, I'm not gonna say yes or no, but right now it's on hold. And
nice.
I would say that my main goal right now is getting a one championship contract.
Okay. Wow.
Because
cool.
That's a big platform now for Muay Thai. It wasn't there a few years ago. And because it wasn't there a few years ago, so yeah, everyone's kind of like looking for that other stage for, if it's money and fame and everything, which was UFC, right? And it's MMA. But now that one championship has really risen up and giving that opportunity for Muay Thai, there's no reason to go and look for it for somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, they do things differently than the UFC in that sense. Like it's very cool how they kind of have different martial arts. You know, say you're more proficient in Muay Thai, then that's really your thing. Then they'll have those different categories of fighting. It's very cool how they do that. But also, there are no Israelis in one championship, as far as I know.
No, I know that there's one female. Her name is Shil Cohen. That she did a fight in Road to one championship. It's like a tournament. I'm not sure exactly where she's holding, but
what is she primarily? What's also Muay Thai? What's her focus?
No, actually, it was kickboxing. She made a transition into Muay Thai just about a year ago or so.
That's super cool. I'll have to see if she has Instagram. I'm sure she does. I'll have to see what she's all about. That's really cool. Yeah. So I wanted to go into this because I was talking about two things that I wanted to bring up with you that I spoke about with Eli, and I just want to hear different perspectives from other Jewish fighters. What do you think about the trend now? I mean, it's been going on for quite some time, but there's, you know, judo has been popular in Israel for quite some time, even jiu-jitsu. Where do you think we're headed in terms of Jewish martial artists in, say, the next 5 years even? Do you see it becoming a lot more mainstream, a lot more popular?
Yeah, it's already a lot more popular and mainstream. Like, I would go around and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a professional athlete in Muay Thai." Maybe people in Israel don't know the actual term for Muay Thai, but you would say in Hebrew, "Iguf Thailandi."
Right.
So they're much more aware of it, and it's not like a big shock. So I think that, and oh, and by the way, there's an organization now for MMA that has been recognized by the sport administration in Israel, and so they're getting funded, and so it's kind of really being put on the front line as for a top sport in Israel, and it's not basketball anymore, and it's not only soccer. So it's really getting there to be in the mainstream. Like 5 years, talking about even less than 5 years, I believe.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. Yeah, I really love Muay Thai. I haven't trained in it. I just love the kicks. I love the kicks. Like there are times where I'll just go on YouTube and watch if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Boaka.
Boaka. He just fought last night.
Really, those kicks are fucking wild. Wild. And he always make, you know, well, all Muay Thai fighters and general fighters, you know, you make a sound or breaths to strengthen your hits, but he always has that like crazy, you know, he lets out that like crazy sound when he kicks. It's so intense. It's so fucking intense.
It's also for to have a stronger kick, right? Even a stronger punch. You're accelerating. The thing about it when you're swimming, if you're swimming and you're not raising and picking up your head to get a breath, eventually after whatever it is, 20 seconds, you won't be able to swim anymore. So you have to raise your head and get air. So the same thing in Muay Thai or in martial arts. When you're executing some sort of a kick or punch or movement, you have to breathe in and out. You would see a lot of people, or at least who are starting, if they're standing there and they'll just go, you know, you can't. You have to breathe.
Right.
Have more time. You'll be able to continue for longer.
Oh, it's not even a breathe. It's not even a breath. He's literally going like hit. He does like a, you know, you know what he sounds like.
Many of the Thais they pronounce the actual hit, right?
Yeah.
It's also for like for the fun of it. If like they're able to connect their kick, so like they'll say the word, they'll say the kick.
Oh, that's interesting. I could watch that dude just kick shit all day. It's just, I imagine what that would feel like if it was my face. I wouldn't enjoy that. It's, you know, dude, the savage. I love how, I just love the art of it, the way it looks. The Muay Thai kick is the sexiest kick in all of martial arts, in my opinion. The elbows are also really, it's just a very savage standing martial art. I really like it. Yeah, so that's just, it's really cool. So, you know, you mentioned, just to go over a couple of things. We mentioned your initial plan to try to join one championship. We're talking about, you know, different accolades that you have. One thing I wanted to talk about was shit that you get for being Jewish. Like, do you get a lot of DMs from people? Have you experienced that negativity from people who don't like us very much? Because I noticed that fighters definitely get it.
Sometimes I would get like little, you know, small DMs from people who, I don't know who's standing behind the, you know, behind the screen, but they'll just be like, Israel is shit and we're stronger than you, or you're weak. It's like, I don't know. I just don't engage in it. You know, I try to really stay away from that. Also, from the political side on social media. But yes, there are things that I share that are important to me for the world to see. But I don't try to create conflict. I wouldn't post something that would raise something in someone else to you know, engage in some sort of conflict. There's no reason for that.
Right, that makes sense.
It's like walking down the street and trying to pick a fight, you know? Us as martial artists, we're the ones that have the most self-control and know when to step in and disengage and not create that that
was just
5.
talking to my buddy about this. I was literally just talking to my buddy about this today when I was drunk at my friend's engagement proposal. And I was, yeah, we managed to, no, yeah, I think it was today. We were, we were talking about the idea that just martial artists, and this is just common knowledge, it isn't a shocking, epiphany idea. It's just that, when you can do a lot of damage to most people you come in contact with, you don't have anything to prove. And so you go through life, and you go through different interactions with people, understanding that I really have nothing to prove to you, and as a result, you're usually less likely to get into an altercation in the first place. There are some MMA fighters, there are some UFC fighters, for example, who do like to get into fights outside of the octagon, but for the most part, it makes people a lot more humble and less interested in getting into fights. I'm a huge fan of what the Israeli fighters are doing. So I love to see it. I loved watching a ton Levy's ass kicking of that Twitter troll. That was great. Yeah. So are there any things that you wanted to cover on your end, maybe that we didn't go through? Anything you'd like to mention? Any future any plans in the near future? Upcoming fights?
So I actually just fought like a month ago here in Thailand. Against a fighter. She fought twice in one championship, Melina Garcia. And now I'm actually supposed to head home in a few days for the holidays, the Jewish holidays, and then make my way back here. So I don't know, we're just kind of like really waiting. The one problem is that in one championship they have like a bracket of 56, 57 kg. I think Smila Sundell, she fights at maybe 59. And so I wish that maybe Chatitri would open, another category of like 62, 63, because there's a whole other, I think, more girls that he's not tapping into due to the fact that it's a very low category. The weight is very low. So, for me at least, it would be too much to cut to 56, 57, I think. But cutting to, getting to 62, it's no problem. So I think that's the main issue right now, that I'm not able to really get a fight that easily through them.
Yeah, that is challenging. That is challenging. The weight cuts are also such a crazy such a crazy part of fighting. It's just crazy to me. People go through so much hell to do that. I've always kind of wondered what that's like.
Cutting weight?
Yeah, must be a bitch, huh?
Hell. It's hell. It's sometimes, if you do it correctly, without having to cut weight in a sauna suit too much, then it's not too bad. You do it with a nutritionist that guides you through the whole thing. It's actually, basically you're manipulating your carb intake, your sodium intake, and then some sort of water load, and that bring you down pretty nice and easy to the weight that you want. Obviously, if you're cutting a lot of weight, then you're going to have to step into the sauna suit. But I was working with fight dietitian from Australia. They're working with a lot of UFC fighters now. Very professional. He brought me down to the weight that I wanted to fight at 1 month ago, at ease, and I'm eating good and I'm feeling good, energized. So yeah. So if you do it correctly, it shouldn't be too hard on the body. And it's something I think that a lot of the athletes need to learn, not just doing it by following someone's guidelines. You have to learn what you're going to be going through. When you're educated, it's much easier to follow it. And you're going to also be able to see signs for disastrous moments. And you can...
What are some things? I mean, clearly it can put you in a dangerous position health wise, but you know, what are some risks? I mean,
Dying.
I think they're kind of obvious, but
Yeah. Yeah, you're dehydrating yourself. So if you overdo it, then yeah, you can faint and you can have internal damage, whether it's to organs and it could be brain damage as well. And when you're cutting weight, you don't know where the water is being extracted from. So if it's from the brain as well, you have fluids in the brain, and then you come and you don't rehydrate correctly towards the fight, and you get hit, you get knocked out, you can have internal brain damage.
God, man, it's crazy. It's a crazy sport. That's why I got so much respect for all of you that do it. It's amazing. It's something I need to get into because I love that shit.
But it's another thing that's interesting is so you come from real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your whole thing is about investing and how to create a life without being dependent on other sources, right? So think about like the athletes. I think it's something maybe that you can also tap into, where many athletes, they could be making money, or some of them aren't making much money, but then when they are making the money, they don't know how to take that and invest it or make it work and grow for them. And they, oh, suddenly you have so much money in your bank account, I'm gonna go buy this and this and this, and suddenly they're broke again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that you can maybe, because you have a passion both for martial arts and you come from the real estate, it's something that you can definitely, I think, help other athletes, because that's something that I'm going into now as well, just kind of embarking onto a different branch in my life, that I know that after my professional Muay Thai career, you know, what am I going to do? Right.
Right.
Many options, but at the end of the day, you want to have some sort of income that you're not dependent on other things.
Mm-hmm.
And the money that you got until now that you worked really hard for, it will keep on growing.
Absolutely. A lot of athletes don't know this. This is a huge problem, especially in places like the NBA or NFL, you know, in American sports where people are making a lot of money and they just blow it on fancy things and they end up losing it. And when they retire from the sport and they're not making that kind of money, they have terrible times financially. So they're trying to change that. They're bringing in, you know, financial advisors, and they're trying to help these guys before it's too late, kind of just allocate the funds to the right places, make the right investment choices. So yeah, no, for sure. I mean, listen, I do the podcast for networking opportunity. It's marketing. I'm building a brand. So, you know, most real estate agents don't do what I'm doing. And I don't just talk about real estate, because real estate's great. It's one of the best tools to create wealth. It's how most millionaires make their money. But to just talk about real estate and not talk about anything else, to me, would be boring and limiting. So I love to keep the dialogue and the topics on my podcast very open to different discussions, you know, to have debates, to have disagreements, to talk about touchy subjects, to talk about Israel, Palestine, martial arts, business, relationships, all these different things. And I can meet all these really cool and, quite frankly, famous people and wealthy people in the process. So there's just so much upside. I love doing this shit. It's great.
Yeah, no,
I appreciate it.
I wasn't saying only to talk about that. I'm saying off camera.
Right.
Saying, like, you can like connect with other athletes and like do something big with them. I don't know. Yeah. Thought that was going through my head.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's a good point. I appreciate that. Okay, so we covered a heck of a lot of ground. I hope you enjoyed. I hope everyone else listening really enjoyed. Definitely go follow Nili on Instagram. Go see her kicking some ass. I'm really, really impressed by all the achievements you've had, and it's really just awesome to see a Jewish woman that is that successful in kickboxing and Muay Thai. I wish you lots of success in your future fights. And you know, just keep making us proud. It's really just it's an honor talking to you. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you
And
for reaching out. Like, one thing I want to say actually is that as a Jewish heritage, I think if I wasn't Jewish and my parents weren't Zionists and didn't move to Israel, I wouldn't be who I was, right? I wouldn't have the opportunities that I have in Israel to tap into that potential as an athlete. Because when you're in the States, so many fish in the sea, you know, just another one. And in Israel, because of the small little country, your potential is so big. I think
that's really awesome. Yeah, I guess so. What you're saying is it's not as saturated.
no.
Right.
No.
Yeah, well, it's also just because Israelis are just tougher than American Jews are. That's also a big component. Not a lot of American Jews want to get into any physical altercation. Yeah, but the big little locks, it just what do I want to fight for? For what? For what? The big little locks is ready. It's in the oven. Let's have it. I don't want to punch anyone. I don't want to get a black eye. My mother's not going to like it. So, Nili, thank you again. Make sure, ladies and gents, thank you for making it this far. Make sure to like, subscribe, smash the like button, leave your comments. Of course, for all of your real estate needs, I would be enthralled and happy to help you. And this has been another episode of Soothing Semantics. Make sure, again, to follow Nili on her Instagram, see what she's up to. Until next time.